this institutionalized way of teaching and learning is just the repetition. It's the thing that we know how to teach languages. You learn grammar and you learn vocabularies, and that's how you learn a language.
I lose my breath whenever I see you. You stole my heart, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors.
So lately I've been thinking a lot about frustration in language learning, and I think it's a quite interesting topic.
You're my heart's desire. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold you, just wanna be with you till we grow old. Please tell me you'll stay or take me away. I want you for myself every single day. You set my world on fire. You set my world on fire. I don't know what I'd do without you. You make me smile, what is it that you do? My life was great till you added colors. Like the moon is the snow, we don't care about the others. You set my world on fire. You're my heart's desire.
Buenos días.
Buenos dias. So I would like to talk about frustration in language learning. I think everybody that learns a language, or at least most of us, at some point or at a lot of points, reach frustration, because it's not easy to kind of say what you want to say, and maybe people don't understand you, and you're trying and you're putting a lot of effort in it, and it can get frustrating. And that's actually where I am right now, because I'm in the beginning of learning Spanish, so it can be frustrating to, for example, be in the bus and the person does not speak English, and I try to say something, I want to buy a ticket, and the person maybe does not understand me, and then I'm in the situation where I really need to communicate with every part of my body that I have, and trying to make him understand, which can be frustrating. And actually, I'm not a fan of the language course I'm in, because I think it's like this typical institutionalized language course. So what you find often at university and school and language courses, where people and professors and tutors that often only speak as one second language, and that language they don't even speak very well. So in my case, most of my teachers, they speak English, but not very well. I think most of the students at 19, 20, 24 years old speak better English and often more languages, which obviously you can say is because it's more modern to learn language now, and English is easier, or like it's more common to learn English in the early ages. But still, I think it's a bit weird to have a teacher that teaches you something that the person itself did not really go through. I mean, obviously they know some English, and it's like not totally bad, but it's not very good as well. So that's just a weird feeling. And then we need to learn all these grammar rules, and all the people, like all the language people that I know and I, like, they all say that grammar is not important, especially not in the beginning. Grammar can be learned if you are interested in learning grammar, and if you learn it, it should be like in the late stages of your language development. So if you're already kind of fluent to talk and you don't have troubles understanding, then you can learn grammar, because then you can put it in context and it makes sense. And I think that's like this question of learning versus acquiring, and like the people that want to acquire a language, which is the method that I like, is where you don't learn grammar, and it's about comprehensive listening. So you listen really a lot, and maybe you read as well. So it's a lot about input, and it's not about output. So I don't try to produce the language if I'm in the early stages, because it just doesn't make a lot of sense, because I don't know that much. Like, it's much more important to get the language in my system and have people that speak the language like talking to me in this language, which is actually like the only reason why I think this language course is good, because the professor obviously talks Spanish to us, and that means that I get really a lot of hours of Spanish in my system, which I like, but other than that, it's not different to like the typical Spanish course back in Austria or other countries, where you sit and you learn grammar, and maybe it's even not in Spanish, like in the language that you want to learn, but in the language that is your native tongue, which is then completely nonsense in my opinion. But here it's like still nonsense for me in the term of like learning grammar rules and everything, but at least she is like talking in Spanish, which means that I get all the Spanish hours in my system. So yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's still good enough for me, and I actually thought this would happen. I didn't expect some kind of modern language teaching technique where you use your body and you kind of have this connection of body and brain, and in order to learn words and everything. Like, I didn't expect that, but yeah, I'm a bit frustrated because I think this institutionalized way of teaching and learning is just it's just a repetition. Like, I mean, it's the thing that we know. It's the thing that we know how to teach languages. You learn grammar and you learn vocabularies, and that's how you learn a language. And even though there is like a lot of evidence that this is not the most efficient way of learning, and also for me personally, in my experience, it as well is not the most efficient way of learning. Like, I really sucked in school, and I'm a high school dropout, and I actually failed in Latin and math, and nearly in English and German. So I was a really bad student. And I never thought I could be able to speak English, and now I speak English and Danish, and now I'm learning Spanish, and that's certainly not because of my school. Like, that, it's nothing that my school taught me, or taught me. Yeah, so here's that. I would never thought I would be able to speak languages, and I'm still not perfect in English and Danish, but that's totally fine. I mean, that's just part of what it is, and I don't care. It's totally fine, and I'm just amazed that I'm as a high school dropout that thought I would never be able to learn any other languages, that I'm sitting here and learning my fourth language. That's just really cool. And it's not because of learning grammar and vocabulary. It's because of comprehensive input and because of being interested in the language, of asking random people, what does it mean? What does this mean? And just putting myself into situations where I need to understand, I want to understand, I want to listen to people. And that's what made the difference for me. So that's what I'm going to do and I'm trying to do here in Spain. Actually, like one last thing, I made a test where, like, in which level I belong, and before I arrived to Spain, and there are like 6 levels, like from A1 to C2. C2 is the highest and A1 is the lowest, and I got into B1, which is like the 3rd level, and then I actually yesterday I went down to A1, which is the easiest level, which obviously, I mean, does not really make sense, but for me it does, because the only difference is grammar, because they both speak Spanish all the time, both tutors, in A1 or C2, like every level they speak Spanish all the time. The only difference is what kind of grammar are you working on. And because I don't care about grammar and I don't think that's the way to learn, I chose to go down in the levels, and now I'm like in the completely beginner class, and I'm just listening to whatever she says, and I'm understanding, and I'm like putting everything, connecting everything, which is great. I like it, and I don't have to think about grammar. If I want to, I can look at the grammar and everything, and sometimes I like to do that. Like I like to look at a conjugation table for 2 minutes, but I don't want to talk about it for 2 hours, which doesn't make sense for me. So here you go. That's me. Frustration in language learning. I think it's about knowing what you want and just going for it, and then if you know what you want, and then you know where you want to go, and then you can overcome frustration. That's my take on it, at least right now. And now I'm going to enjoy the sunrise. Yeah, sunrise. It's a sunrise, and it's beautiful.
My life was great